today our group will present about the introduction about our data that we have collected. Basically, we have collected our data from Asian Development Bank. The name of our data is Basic Statistics according to the years, and you can see the statistic we have taken from 2019 until 2009. So we have taken all the data in the Asian Development Bank. And if we go to the data, one of the data, so we have chosen for 2018 data. So in here we can see the row of the table shows the developing countries. Total of the countries that were portrayed here is 45 countries, and the column of the Excel table is showing the co-indicator of the developing countries. The land size, the population of the people in the developing countries, the sustainable development, including all their health, their internet access, their economics, and also about their mortality level, their birth level, their unemployment rate, and all those things, and including about their economic matters. But for our research paper, for our research questions and for our project, we have emphasized on the attribute of poverty. So we want to search about data, and we want to investigate on how poverty affects some aspects in the developing countries. Okay, so from what you have seen, the original data that we have downloaded that for 10 years, and we can see there's a lot of attributes that were located in the original data, but all those attributes were not supporting. Not necessary for our research question, which is related to poverty. So what we have decided is, as a team members, we have chose only 14 attributes from the original data to support our research questions, which is related to poverty. So in here, this is the final data that we have merged all the 10 years and the attribute that we have chosen from the original data. And basically you can see all the attributes are somehow related to poverty and economics of the developing countries. And this column showing the year, and this is the attributes that support for the attribute of poverty. And you can see some of the here are some missing values, and these missing values we will modify the data in rapid manner using the transformation process. Later my team members will present to you about the transformation process and other process that we have done in rapid manner.
Assalamualaikum. Our first research question is, what is the impact of the economics towards the poverty, towards the people that living in poverty in the developing country? For the first question, we categorize all the people that live inside under the national poverty line into three categories, which is low, medium, and high. From that, for the low, the percentage is less than 10%, and for medium, the percentage is less than 20%, and everything besides low and medium will be considered as high.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, next we move to the first research question, which is how economics and finance of a country affect poverty.
Okay. As you can see, we use three things for our data transformation, which is replace missing value, generate attribute, and select attribute. The first one is replace missing value. When there is null value or missing value inside our data sets, we replace it with an average. And the next one is by generating attribute. From here, we generate new attribute from our data set, which is level of poverty. The first level of poverty is where the level is less than 10, and the next one is less than 20, and besides that, it will be considered as high. For the first question, we select three attributes, which is external debt, level of poverty, and per capita gross income. And from there, we set our role, which is the level of poverty, and our target role is level.
And then we move to the cost validation. For the cost validation, we choose the decision tree as our first model. As you can see, for the decision tree, the criterion is information gain, because between all of the criteria, information gain give the highest accuracy, and then the maximum that we set it to 5. Confidence 0.5, also minimal gain is 0.05. And the result of the cost validation is, what was that?
Dah.
Okay, as you can see here, when the external debt is more than 485 million, it will compare to the GNI. And then when the GNI is more than 1730, it will compare again with GNI is more than 2630, and then the level of poverty is high. When the GNI is less than 260 US million, we will compare to the external debt, and when the external debt is lower than 1107 million, the prediction or the outcome of the poverty is low, and when the external debt is less than 1107, the level of poverty is high. And then as you can see here, if the external debt is less than 485 million, the outcome of the poverty level is high. And then if the external debt is more than 485 and the GNI is less than 170 million, and then we compare the external debt. If the external debt is more than 1808 million, the poverty level is high. If the external debt is less than 1808 million, it will compare to GNI, and if the GNI is more than 1345, the poverty level is medium, and if the GNI is less than 1345, the level of poverty is high. As you can see here, this arrow is a bit thicker than another arrow. That it shows that the prediction is more toward high level of poverty. As you can see, this is the performance part of the cost validation. The accuracy that we get is 75.33%, and as you can see, most of the data is predicted to high level of poverty, and the precision also, if you compare between high, low and medium, the highest one is high. So we can predict that the level of as you can see, this is the performance of the cost validation. As you can see, we get a 75.33% for the decision tree, and most of the prediction is towards high prediction of level of poverty, and we can indicate that the higher the level of the more, as the poverty level of a nation of a country is high, we can indicate that they have, based on this table, we can indicate that if the poverty level of a nation is high, the economic level of the country is low, which means that the country is more toward external debt. Okay, next we want to show the consistency of our prediction. We use naive Bayes as our second model. So okay, the accuracy that we get from naive Bayes is 69.11%, and the prediction is more toward high, and you can see the 100% prediction toward high prediction of level poverty. Okay, so we can see that both of the models show that the high level poverty of a country. Okay, we can see for the both model that we use to compare to determine the consistency of our prediction, we can see that high level of poverty is the highest prediction that we can get from both of the model.
As a conclusion, we can see that economics really affect the poverty people inside the developing country, because we can see that most of them are inclined towards the high level of the poverty people inside the developing country. So from there we can conclude that for the first question, it is true that economics really bring big impact towards the people living inside the poverty, living under the poverty line, and the impact is high, and this occurs inside those developing countries.
Okay, now we will see the first research question. How poverty affects the health of people in developing countries? Why we have to choose this question? For your information, developing countries are countries that are growing and have a good sustainable growth and development in their countries. Although these developing countries can possess their good name in many aspects for their development, but they also suffer with poverty. What is this poverty? How they affect people in developing countries? And how huge is the impact of poverty in certain developing countries? So, we will use our research question as a platform to find out how poverty affect the health of people in developing countries. Poverty have a huge impact in many aspects. For example, education, health, economics, and many more. But we emphasize on health because health is a main thing for human being. So based on our research question, we will see on how poverty have an impact on health of people in developing countries.
Okay, for the next question, for the second question, the question is how the poverty of the country affect the health of the people in the country. So, for the two first process, the retrieve data and the replace missing value, we use the same process as in the first question. So now what is different is the general attribute. Here we put a new attribute, we name this as level TB, where we put the function expression. We have the condition where we need to separate the level of tuberculosis incidence in each country into three: first, low, medium, and high. So here we can see the condition that we have put, where below 200 we consider as low, and below 400 until 200 we categorize it as medium, and also next of 400 we categorize as high. And we apply, and we can see that it will have a new attribute. So next, after we generate the attribute, we will select the attribute that we need to use to predict the result. Okay, here we can see that we have many attributes here. We have about 40 attributes. So for the second question, we only choose to use three attributes. The first one is the total population of the country. Second one is proportion of living under the national poverty line. The third one is the new attribute that we have generated, which are renamed as the level TB. So after we have selected the attribute that we need to use inside our RapidMiner, next we need to set the role for the attribute, which we choose to use the label DB as the target role, where we choose the target role as the label, where we can see that the label is like what we have decided: low, medium or high. So here we have the cross validation, where the cross validation is we want to check the accuracy of the data. Okay, next we proceed with the cross validation, where in the cross validation we choose to use the decision tree. So here we for the criterion we choose to use the gain ratio with the maximal depth as 4, and we set the confidence 0.2 and minimal gain as 0.05. Okay, so we will run the model. Okay, here the performance of our model, we can see the accuracy is 80.67%, where it's quite high actually, the accuracy of our model. And we can see the class precision of the low is 81.42%, where it is the highest precision among those three levels. So here we can see that the low, they have the class record as 98%, where in our model the prediction mostly is towards the low. Okay, here is our decision tree. Okay, for the decision tree, we can see this is the first one is the proportion of living under the national poverty line. If the proportion is bigger than 48.3, so it will compare again the proportion of living under the national poverty line, where the next comparison we can see that if the proportion is still higher than 49.95, so we can see that in that particular country we have the medium amount of the tuberculosis incidence. So next, if the proportion is lower than 49.95%, it will compare again with the total population of the country. So if the total population is higher than 1.13 million, so what we will do is our system predicted that here will be the high tuberculosis incident in the country, and if the total population is lower than 1.13 million, there will be a medium incident of tuberculosis in the country. So next we will proceed with the proportion that are lower than 48.3, the proportion of living under the national poverty line. It will compare again with the total population. So we can see here, if the total population is higher than 93.845 million, it will again be compared with the total population, where here we can see that total population is 232.775 million, where in that particular country we will have low incidence of tuberculosis. And if the population is lower than 232.775, there will be a medium incidence of tuberculosis in that country. And here we can see if the total population is lower than 93.845 million.
Okay.
So if the total population is lower than 93.845, so we can see in that particular country there will have low of incidence of tuberculosis in that country. And if we see here, you can see that there are a thick line connected from here until the low one, where it shows that in our model there are many of the low incident was being predicted.
Okay guys, I hope you understand what my friend previously have presented to you, the processes in rapid mining, including cross-validation, selecting the attributes, and also set the role for the attributes. And I hope you can understand and manage to follow up with the processes that my friend have presented to you. You might think why we have to choose this technique. There's a lot of technique that we can use for as a model to support our question. There are naive Bayes, decision tree, and also KNN model. But we have chosen decision tree because decision tree have shown the accuracy of around 80%. So we can see this 80% from the model, showing that this this model is accurate around 80% and it support our question. And I would like to conclude these findings towards our question. From our model, which is decision tree, we can sum up that the poverty level of a developing country, as it is getting low, the health of the people, which indices by the tuberculosis, which is TB, is getting low. So what we can conclude from this is, what we can get an idea from, what can we interpret from this one is, we can tell that poverty does affect the health of people in developing country, but as it get lower, as the poverty level of the developing countries getting lower, they can overcome the health problem among their people. Thank you.
Alright, as a conclusion to the both question, which is, does economics affects the people living under the national line inside the developing country? And the second question is about, does poverty affect the health of people living inside developing countries? Both questions are interrelated because economics affect the poverty people, and meanwhile health also affect the people poverty also affect the condition of health of people inside the developing country. So we can see that three of these each is interrelated, which is poverty, economics, and health. So we can conclude people that living under the poverty line will have a problem with their economics, and sometimes they also have their problem with their health also.